welcome to another episode of the Auto Otaku Podcast, brought to you by Driving Line and Nitto Tire. As you can see, I'm here with a man that probably doesn't need any introduction. It's Vaughn Gittin Jr. He is a professional drifter, 2020 Formula Drift champion. He's now an off-road racer. He is the founder of RTR Vehicles. He's a real stud. So no, I'm happy to have him on. Hopefully talk about some cool stuff. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you.
I thought to get started, why don't you just take us a quick through just your basic history, how you got into drifting, how you started RTR, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been a car guy my entire life. My dad was a used car salesman, always bringing home unique vehicles. And I was that kid at like 4 or 5 years old that could tell you a car from its headlights or taillights. And for me, it's certainly one of those passions I've always had. And I grew up, racing motocross, skateboarding, BMX, and around 20 years old, roughly 20 years ago, I was shown a video of drifting, and it was one of those, drift events at Ebisu that we've all probably seen the video, and I was just like
VHS tape,
this is there's a sport where you can show your style and personality from behind the wheel, and at that time, right around then, I had already been kind of playing around in industrial parks and doing donuts, and I had a 240SX and really didn't know what drifting was, and kind of put it all together at that moment when I saw that video. And so instead of going and doing donuts and, power slides in industrial parks, now I started to go to these courses,
kind of realize there was more to it.
This course in my head and kind of link it together. And then right around then was when we started having some events on the East Coast. And, that was what basically, I went to an event at, it was DG Trials at the time. So basically Club Loose, but back then it was DG Trials. And I just kind of fell in love with the culture and the people and realized that I had a talent from just the playing around and motocross and things like that. And at the time I was working IT, and it just kind of was literally like I had a drug habit of cars. I spent all my money on building my car, and a few years later, I got invited out to the Nopi World Finals in Sonoma, and I went there. My first time to California, I shipped my car in open transporter, maxed my credit card out to get there. I actually shipped my car to Kaz to get a 2-way limited slip put in it, and I'll never forget.
Ready for the big time.
I'll never forget the ending. I got a ride to Kaz. I picked up my car. It had all the tires in the back that I shipped with it. And I went and found a church parking lot to test my new limited slip. And I went to that event, and that's where, I went there and drove with a lot of the top Japanese drivers I've been watching. Team Orange was there. That's where I met Dai Yoshihara, which was another funny story of me and him trying to communicate like cavemen. We didn't speak English at the time. But I went around there. Not only did I show up, ready to drive, but I had proposals and, because I knew Formula D was starting right after that. This was October 2003.
Yeah, because kind of before that, it was like there was the West Coast scene and the East Coast scene, and Formula Drift kind of helped bridge the gap between the two of them into a unified national thing. So,
yeah. Yep. And so after that event, I got a call from, the team I used to drive for, my first team I drove for, and basically, telling me they wanted me on the team. And so, at that time, I was toting my, S13 around the country, competing in FD the first year. And then the next year we built, our Mustang, the first Mustang I drove, and really, from that point, I was still working a full-time job, and I, a couple years later in 2007, I decided to quit and just chase the dream, chase my passion. And, getting that first Mustang, that really inspired RTR, because when I got that car, drifting and in general, like I like cars that look cool. Style is an important thing. And when I got into the Mustang, like I fell in love with that '05 Mustang. That's why we decided to build a Mustang and bring this into, bring American muscle into this import dominated sport. And, but once I got the Mustang, I fell in love with the car and its dynamics, but I started looking into, personalizing it and making it mine. And everything that was available was just, in my opinion, a very old school mindset and nothing that really spoke to me.
Yeah, like the big, the chromed out stuff and the flames, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like louvers here,
That's right.
The same 2 racing stripes over the hood that you've seen since the 60s. And I was like, we need something new and fresh. Like this is why Mustang is not as exciting to, our audience anymore.
Sure.
And that to me kind of inspired, hey, there's a need for something new. And, I kind of had this vision of a new generation, more progressive, contemporary, if you will. We call
it had all the bones, but just the image could have used a makeover.
Exactly. And so, in 2009, I launched RTR in the form of the RTRC at the Ford display. And then we had our prototype Mustang, which is now, I gave to my dad, but it's now my son's.
Was that the blue one?
Yeah, the blue one. Yep.
I think I remember seeing that when you first rolled up in it way back then.
So for me, it was a project of passion. I went to Ford and I said, hey, like, I think we should do this. And they were like, well, we love the idea, Vaughn, but, we can't do it because if we do it, it's not going to be what you want it to be. So we support it and get after it. So, here I was, a 28-year-old, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed guy and, walked out of that meeting and figured out how to make it happen. And here we are, 10, 11 years later, and things are going phenomenal. People are comparing, us and me to a new generation Shelby. And I'm just like, I don't even think about hearing that. But
they're going to make a movie about you sometime.
Yeah. I mean, but, at the end of the day is really just me fulfilling a passion and a need and wanting to do something cool because I love Mustang. And I think that it deserves to be what it once was. And, this was 2010. And obviously, there's been a rebirth and a really cool new uprising around the Mustang community and the Mustang world. And so, I'm not saying that, we're the reason for it, but,
definitely contributed a big factor.
Of that, seeing my dream of Mustang being invigorated and, it's really, really cool. So
yeah, I can kind of relate to that because I was kind of the same way. Like I grew up around all the muscle car stuff with my dad and that sort of thing. And then got into the, Japanese stuff a little bit later. So I can definitely relate to the, wanting to take, the heritage of the American muscle and, kind of reinventing it for a, more international, modern style. So that's so cool.
Yeah. And so, what RTR was like, I kind of combined a lot of my influences, right? Like if you look at the RTRX, right, which is one of our right. First real big custom build, it's kind of the crux of RTR was like taking inspiration from things I love, like a little taste of European car culture here and a little taste of Japanese car culture and meshing it with American car culture because that's what I came up on, And so that's where the vision of RTR started. And then, it's RTR stands for Ready to Rock, which is for me just something I say. It's a lifestyle and a mindset for me. Like, I'm ready to rock. What are we doing? Let's do it. I'm ready. And so all of our vehicles have a little ready to rock DNA, right? Like our Mustangs, fully adjustable suspension, whatever you want to do, drifting, road racing, drag racing, hitting the twisties, driving the street, like it does it all.
Sure.
Our F-150s and Rangers, you want to go jump them? Go jump, go sky them. I'm saying they can get a little air, they can slide around, they can drive nice on the street. So every one of our vehicles has a bit of that DNA. Like it's not just, not only focused on looks. Like my goal is to give our owners an epic experience that they can't get elsewhere, whether that's at the gas pump, people stopping and talking to them, or flagging them down or giving them thumbs up on the freeways, or really enjoying the driving experience behind the wheel. We have a real 360-degree vision that we try to curate for our owners. So
awesome. And I saw that. I'm following your progress. You just moved into that new shop not too long ago. You've been like kind of redoing the whole place. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, still pinching myself every day, but we've been here since probably about 3 months now, 4 months now. But basically, I bought Kenny Schrader's old, NASCAR Legends old facility, and it's a really beautiful shop. You guys can check out my YouTube, and I've got a couple series or a couple videos I've done walking through it from we got it to where we're at now. But it's just a beautiful shop. It's got some offices. It's got a really nice clean room, which we have RTR vehicles. We have our experimental division, which is the Mustang Mach-E 1400, which we should get into.
Oh, yeah. That's
our motorsport area. And then, next to that, separated, right, we've got our dirty room, right, fabrication.
Sure.
Then we have 2 paint booths and a warehouse for all of our products and for both FunHaver and RTR to be sold from. I mean, we got, it's 45,000 square feet of building, and I've effectively got a drifting test track here.
I saw that.
We got a dyno now, and
that's the dream.
Covering for our rig. So really, really cool. I just got 6 crazy carts for the guys here.
Awesome, Steve.
I'm very mandatory about our team having fun and taking fun. And so I try to facilitate that the best I can.
That is sweet and awesome. And then, more recently, you've been doing quite a bit of off-road racing as well, right?
Yeah. I've been doing Ultra 4 now going on about 5 years. Nitto, I was on the beach with Abby on our yearly vacation, and Harry from Nitto called me, and he's like, hey, you have any interest in doing King of the Hammers? And I'm like, that's that race with like the big boulders and the desert and then like crazy stuff.
Middle of
and
nowhere.
He's like, yep. I'm like, all right, I'm in. So long story short, I show up to the lake bed, with like nice clean tennis shoes and, my helmet and suit. And, 10 minutes later, I'm sitting in like getting fitted into this truck that Nitto had procured for me. And next thing you know, I got Lauren Healy in the passenger seat, and, he takes me out, and the first thing we do is, go up this waterfall, right? So I get to the face of it, and I'm looking at it. I'm just like, okay, like, what are we doing?
I'm supposed to go up that?
Yeah, he's like, you're going up that. I'm like, this is like the joke you do to all the rookies, right, Lauren? He's like, nah, go up that. And he's like, put it in 4 low. I'm like, how do you do that? Anyway, we get it in 4 low and drive it up this hill, and I'm just like crapping my pants the whole time. And, but, after a couple little things that he showed me, I'm like, okay, this is what these things can do. And that first race, I finished top 10, became one of the first, and I had a great co-driver, Glenn. What up, Glenn? And so, I got bit by the bug, man, and, went out and we had Brocky built. And, just 2 years ago, Lauren and I started the FunHaver off-road team. And, now we're racing Broncos in Ultra 4, and it's just a new, really cool, I started in motocross, so it's like full circle, I've always
you're sort of getting back to your roots a little bit.
Yeah. Like I've always loved that, like outdoor adventure, like being in the wild and the elements, and Ultra 4 does that, and drifting. I've always said it, that drifting is the number one thing to do to set you up for any motorsport because of the car control, the level of grip that you manage. And it's really helped me with Ultra 4 a ton. And so I've quickly, become, a good, one of the guys that's out there that could win on any weekend. And, thank you to obviously Lauren and his experience, and we're really a great complement. I bring a lot of things he didn't have experience with, and he's got a lot of experience I don't. So we really make a great team, and we're just having so much fun with it. And now having a 2-year-old, it's cool for him to be able to come out to those events and play with his toys in the dirt while I'm racing.
Oh, I bet, yeah. Yeah, I've got my son. I just turned 4, and it's kind of the same thing. Just trying to expose him to as much as I can. So
yeah, so it's been epic, and obviously RTR evolving in the we have a Bronco coming, and It's just been a perfect, evolution, and the schedule's still working. I'm able to do, drift and Ultra 4 once again this year, so I'm pumped.
That is awesome, man. And so, all right, so now the Mach-E, what's the official name? The 1400?
Yeah, it's the Ford Mustang Mach-E 1400. So it's basically
it's literally like one of the craziest vehicles I've ever seen. I think
it's certainly the craziest vehicle we've ever built. Up before that, the Unicorn would have taken the cake, but this thing, for us, Ray, my technical director, he said it best. He's like, for a first electric vehicle build, this is absolutely crazy. For a 10th electric vehicle build, this would have been crazy, but this was our first. And, I really had a vision and a goal, look, I love driving, and I want the future generations to love driving and be excited about driving. And I was just tired of hearing people thinking that electric vehicles are like the end of any kind of fun behind the wheel.
Sure.
And, so I kind of had this concept of building this badass electric car that we could do a bunch of cool things with. And Ford also was really on that wavelength. So I went to Ford and presented this idea, and they're like, are you reading our notes? We have we have a goal very similar. And so, they entrusted us to take this build on, and it was a really cool collaboration with the geniuses at Ford Performance and geniuses at RTR. Not me included, my guys. We built this demonstrator of electric, and it's 7 motors, 3 in the front, 4 in the rear, infinitely adjustable, power wise, turn the switch, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive. You want to change the bias, 5%, 10%, whatever you want to do, and it's incredible. It's, 1,400 horsepower. It's just around 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, but, we haven't publicized this, but whatever. I spent 4,000 to 6,000 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels, depending on a hub dyno. It's freaking absurd.
It's like mind-bending stuff.
And I've just broken, the most jaded people you would ever imagine. We all turn into little kids when we get in it. Ken Block, myself, Haley Deegan, everyone that's Joey Logano, tons of NASCAR guys that have drove it. They're just like, they roll up, they're like, what's this, electric stuff about? And they're like, it's so mind opening. And I'm telling you, like, once technology catches up, and it's close, but it's over for the, like, an electric car showing up in a motorsport against a gas car. Once the efficiencies equal out,
mm-hmm.
There's no contest because of the control that you have and the
right. Everything's instant. And
yeah. So, but it's really cool. And it's been an opportunity for us to try, it started out like, very collaborative efforts with Ford Performance, and they were really focused on the aero, and they gave this thing 2,600 pounds of downforce 2,300 at 160 miles an hour, right? It's so well balanced. It's, like, even sideways, like, that was one of the things is like, well, you can put a ton of aero on it, but when I go sideways, I need it to be, linear.
Sure.
It doesn't hit any walls. It, they used their learnings from WRC and really built the aero well. And, Lindsay and our design team worked very close to the studio to make it look so cool. And,
mm-hmm.
Everything that you think about weight, right? Like, the car weighs over 5,000 pounds, right? I mean, it's a big vehicle.
Sure.
But it's got a ton of battery, but the battery is 2-3 inches off the ground. Even with that weight, it feels like a freaking go-kart, And so, the perception of everything that we know from internal combustion engine and comparing it to electric, like, every perception, everything you think goes out the window when you experience it. And so for me, I just want more people to experience it because it's life-changing straight up. Like, it is absolutely perspective shattering.
Yeah. I mean, I've ridden a few fast electric. I mean, obviously nothing even close to that level, but even on the street, like, if you have the chance to, like, even the regular, street going Mach-E, that sort of thing. I think they'll impress a lot of people that they think they're little golf carts or something that you drive around.
Yeah. And so it's been a lot of fun for us. It was a crazy project to take on. I mean, all this stuff is bespoke. Like this is not.
Yeah, there's no playbook you can open up and just, this person did that, so we just need to do the same thing.
Right. So, we had a great drivetrain partner from Latvia who, Drive EO, who we work with. And then, Ray from our team is just a genius when it comes to any electronics. And he just dived head in to figure things out. And we've done some great things and have some great stuff this year planned with it. And so hopefully we'll get out to your neck of the woods. And
yeah, I want to see that thing on a time attack tour.
Yeah, well, the goal is to do some of that with it. I mean, it was built to drift, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, Gymkhana, road race.
You could take it to time attack and just adjust it and compete in every class and probably win.
Really, you could. And we haven't shown this too much yet, but we will soon. But we created a sound system for it. So we have military speakers in the front and rear of it. That project over 1.5 miles. We can't turn it up all the way, but I work with my friend and now drifter and car nut T-Pain to develop out a really cool, unique sound that the car will project if we have the sound system on. I mean, it sounds nuts without it. It's a lot of noise and electric motor noise. It's like it's just. It's crazy.
Like something out of Star Wars or something.
Yeah, but you mix that sound with the sound that we created. It's just we're having fun with it, and that's what I think people should do with all vehicles. Obviously, I wear it on my hat, right? I mean,
I can tell just by the way you're talking about that it's not just a project that okay, I guess we'll do this. Like I can tell that you're genuinely excited about it, which is always cool. But
yeah, thank you. And we love it, and it's just been a great experience. I mean, it's the future, and I'm excited that we have the opportunity. First of all, that Ford trusted us to build such an important project, but that we have the chance, and we're using it and learning from it and setting us up for, evolving.
I guess the Bronco is another big thing that you've been working on lately. I know you mentioned that a moment ago. That's another. I mean, you just released your RTR Bronco not too long ago, right?
Yeah, we just debuted that. I mean, I've been working with the Bronco team for a couple years. I remember the first time I saw it in the studio a couple years ago, and Ford has done such a good job of researching pain points of competitors and things that customers want, and they've just knocked it out of the box. I mean, the stock Bronco, I'm speaking of like the Badlands or, the Sasquatch package, but their most capable Broncos, it's just a game changer. First of all, it's independent front suspension. So all of the crappy ride that everybody is used to is gone.
Sure.
But the capability and the electronics and technology they've built into it. I mean, they have a trail turn assist, which locks the inside tire so you can turn literally on a dime when you're on a trail, or, sway bar disconnect that you just press a button, whether it's loaded or unloaded, and disconnect the bar. And, they're not going to tell you this, but, it jumps, it climbs stuff, it does rocks.
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, I feel like it's literally like a UTV and a Raptor had a baby. Like it's.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and like me and Lauren and I, Lauren's been doing this for 20 years. Like he's seen everything, and I've watched his mind get blown 100 times on the over Bronco. And so we've been having a ton of fun with it. RTR. We're still in development phase. What you guys saw was our first article prototype.
Sure.
That we've already learned things from that. We're making some design changes and little things, but Ford's done such a good job with the base vehicle and given so many options that we just get to come in and give our flavor and offer the people something a little bit different. And so I'm excited. Awesome. I'm excited about the Bronco Sport. Like that is.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of those driving around. Every time I see them, I'm like, damn, that thing looks cool.
Yeah, and people are discounting it, but it's a really, the Badlands model is a very capable machine.
Yeah, and it's affordable. It's cool looking. It's capable.
Yeah, 2-liter turbo. It's got an RDU, basically very similar from the Focus RS. It might even be the same unit, but clutch packs on the outside. So it's got a vectoring to it. You can lock it. Like it's Ford, they're killing it. Like, yes, I'm a Ford guy. I have been for 13 years. Well,
Sure.
yeah, 13 years officially, but multiple years before that, before I've ever had a deal. But watching Ford go from when I started working with them in 07 and 08 through the crisis to where they are now, like they're just, and there's a group of passionate people that are ticking all the boxes and really killing it. And so the Broncos is the result of that.
It makes you feel patriotic too, I guess. Seeing that.
Yeah, in some aspect for sure.
Are you? I don't think you've announced anything, but are you planning to work on something for the production Mach-E? Will RTR be involved in that?
Yeah, right now we don't have that plan. We've been so focused on Bronco and Bronco Sport. And honestly, in a perfect world, when we launched the Mach-E 1400, we would have launched something along with that. But it just been, we're growing. The company's growing.
Ford is releasing too much cool stuff at once.
Yeah, pretty much. But for us, we only have the resources we have to do the things that we want to do. And so, our motorsport side of the business and media side is really busy, and RTR vehicles is just like we're at max capacity. So Mach-E is on the list. I would say early next year, I hope we've got a few things, but I don't know that we'll have an actual RTR Mach-E for a little while if we end up doing that. But I have some other ideas of ways RTR can be involved with Mach-E. There's over the air capabilities and things like that. So things that I want to do, things that add to the owner's experience. And so we're working on a couple cool things, but nothing official yet.
Right on. I'm looking forward to that. I just want to do a few quick questions. I basically ask these to everyone that comes on this little podcast here. I call the lightning round or whatever you want to call it. What was your first car?
My first car was a 1964 Cutlass with 100-spoke Daytons and 10 switch hydraulics with 12 batteries in the back. My father got it for me for getting honor roll. He bought it for like $2,000 from this Jamaican family that had to leave DC very quickly. It was a very interesting vehicle. Taught me a lot about working on cars because it constantly broke down. I would go into high school like literally daily with just like hydraulic grease all over my phone. In fact, one really funny story had a solenoid get stuck on it, caught an oily rag on fire in the trunk.
Uh-oh.
And a friend and I had to literally pee in the trunk to get the fire out so my car didn't burn down. There's one for you.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, that was a high school story.
That's awesome. So I know you have a Ford GT that's kind of done in your signature paint scheme, kind of. Aside from that, is there another dream? Do you have another dream car that you would like to own at some point?
Yeah. I'm thinking of this, but I'm hesitant. I'm just making sure that it still is a dream car, but Lamborghini Countach. In fact, I'll show you. Hold on. This has been in my bedroom since I was a kid.
the classic poster. I think.
Since I was a kid, I had the Lamborghini airbrush T-shirts. I had Lamborghini curtains. I had a Lamborghini bed at my dad's house. Like, I've always loved Countaches, and I unfortunately drove one at Gapville. Kind of crushed my dreams because it was like a freaking
because it has like 220 horsepower.
So it was very disappointing. But I still feel like maybe I would like to have one day. In fact, I've looked at like really, really good kit cars.
Right. Put a Coyote or something in it.
I kind of want one of those, but I'm really more about like building my dreams at this point. Like the Mach-E 1400, that was a dream of mine. The RTRX, obviously, it's still one of my favorite vehicles ever. Our Spec 5 RTRs, 10th anniversary that we're doing for myself now. And so that's really it, but I would have to go back and say if there's really a dream car, think I'd have to do the Countach.
Countach,
Yeah.
solid choice, I think.
Yeah.
So, cool. And then I guess on that same note, is there? I mean, obviously the 1400 is pretty wild, but is there another dream? I guess maybe you kind of answered your own question, or answered my own question, and maybe your dream project would be a Countach with, fully redone underneath with all the modern touches and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's I don't have I've tooled around recently, and a good friend of ours, who Rod Chong.
Yeah.
We fooled around with a modern day gasser.
Oh, that would be sick.
Taking the Mustang and turn into a modern day gasser, which I think would be a neat project. I've got a bunch of stupid fun ideas in my head. But I've fortunately been able to act on a lot of them.
Sure.
Right now there's a sweepstakes on rhino.co for you to win the ultimate FunHaver, which is one of my favorite vehicles ever.
Oh yeah, you've done just about everything in that truck.
Yeah, I mean, it jumps, it drifts, it drives. It's still like brand new. Like it still runs and drives like a bone stock F-150, but it has all that capability. So stay tuned. Awesome. There will be more.
Sweet. No, but I think that's a good place to leave off here. I know the FD season's kicking off pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah, we're actually Chelsea probably just landed. We're going testing tomorrow out here, and really excited. We made some small changes. Obviously, earned a championship last year, which was just unbelievable.
That's awesome,
all odds against everybody with what was going on in the world.
Yeah, most people didn't even think there was going to be a championship to win last year.
Right, and so we were able to do that, and so we made some small changes this year. We're just going to go test it out, make sure what the adjustments we made work as well. I'm really pumped and looking forward to it. I'm not really feeling any pressure. Just going to go out there, have fun, just like I did last year, and we'll see where we end up.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I wish you guys luck in that, and obviously in Ultra 4 and everything else you're doing. I'm happy to see you get so big and make it so far. So that's
thank you
awesome.
Very much, Mike. And I got a amazing team. I'm so grateful. It supports me. I mean, it's crazy. We've got like over 30 team members now. And it's just I'm really a lucky dude that such talented people choose to spend their time and believe in me to lead us. So having a lot of fun with it. And, all I want to do is share fun and put smiles on people's faces. And
cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening or watching, however you're viewing this. But I want to thank Vaughn again for coming on, and wish him best of luck in all of his endeavors. We'll see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.